Welcome back to the Greenlight Investor for the week ending July 31st, 2015. The goal of the Greenlight Investor is to provide a resource to make managing your 401k both a simple and easy process. We do this by using a worksheet that contains red, green, and yellow cells to help you decide when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. This presentation is for educational purposes only and should not be used as personal investment advice. The examples shown are just that. They're examples of how you can use this worksheet to help make investment choices within your 401k plan. Please refer to your own investment policy to make sure that the choices you make are appropriate for both your investment time horizon as well as your understanding and your acceptance for taking on risk in the marketplaces. With that said, let's go ahead and go right to our worksheet. On the left side, we highlight the investment choices available to you in your 401k plan. We do this by showing the fund number, the symbol, the fund name, and a brief description of each of the funds. At the top of the worksheet, we start out with the core investments, and we'll progress down through the money markets, the fixed income funds, U.S. growth and income funds, the more aggressive U.S. equity, international, and then finally the sector funds. In the middle portion of the worksheet, we have the performance. We update this each week and we'll show you the closing price, the month-to-date total return, the quarter-to-date total return, and we'll show you the year-to-date return. This is important so you can compare how the fund performance of the funds that you're selected and invested in, so you can see how they're doing compared to the funds that are available within the category as well as the funds that are available within other categories. It's like a horse race. You want to tend to stay with the stronger funds throughout the race and stay away from the weaker ones. Finally, we'll look at the current trend scores. This is a weekly trend score section, and it's unique to this worksheet. And what this does is this helps you stay in the stronger funds and helps you avoid the weaker funds. When you see a lot of red, that are generally the weaker funds. When you see green, those are ones that have been performing a little bit better. On a week-over-week basis, if you look down column V, you'll see the relative strength change. When you see a bright green cell highlighted in this, that means that that's on a week-over-week basis has performed better than most. And when you see a bright red cell, that means that's been one of the weaker funds on a week-over-week basis. So it's easy to see how the funds have done as you scroll down the worksheet. When you see the bright red, those have been weaker. When you see the bright green, those have been the stronger funds. When you see a green overtone compared to the red, this category has outperformed the red category. And as you scroll down, you see quite a bit more red, so this one's been quite a bit weaker than the other categories on a week-over-week basis. Another feature for this section is that we'll show the numerical value of each of the relative strengths for each of the funds each week. When you see the funds are getting stronger, as we see in this top one, you're going from a minus 1.02 to a minus 0.65. That's not as weak as it was, so that's why we're seeing the bright green light. That one's been generally improving. So it gives you a little bit of a highlight as to how the funds are doing. Also, when you see a lot of red, you generally like to stay away from these. We're seeing red for the long-term trend, which is the most important column to look at. And when you're seeing a lot of red on the right side of column V, you generally want to stay away from those. When they start to turn green, that's the point that you want to be in these funds, and particularly when they're green on the right side and on the left side of column V. Here we're seeing that we've turned to all red on the international fund, so it's a good reason to stay away from these, or at least be very cautious when you're invested in this group. And we're seeing more green, so these are the stronger funds and generally are better to be in this kind of a market condition. So there's a lot of information, and as you follow this procedure, you'll get a chance to see how you can use this to make selections and adjustments within your 401k plan. Let's go ahead and see how you can actually use this information to make adjustments when needed within your 401k plan selections. We'll go to Custom Views, let's go to My Current Allocations, and let's click Show. Then you simply slide the worksheet over so that you can see the red, green, and yellow lights. Here we'll look and we'll see that we have a 10% allocation to the index funds with a green light and a green light on both sides of column V. There's nothing that we need to do on a week over week basis to adjust the selections. We currently have a 55% allocation, and that's neutral and neutral. And with a bright green light, that's actually done better than most of the funds over the week. So we're just fine sitting there. Next, let's look at our fixed income. We have a 0% allocation. And the reason is because we're seeing so much red on both the right side and the left side of column V. As long as we see that, we'll stay away from these fund selections. Once they start to turn green, though, we'll be looking to make our allocation back into this sector. Next, we see that we have a 5% target allocation to growth and income, but we're currently at a 0% allocation to this. Again, the same reasoning as we're seeing a lot of red, as well as a lot of red and yellow on both sides of column V. Our U.S. allocation, we have a 30% target, but we only have 20% invested, and that's because we've been seeing more and more of the red cells appearing, and a lot of green has been turning over to the neutral. So we've decided to pull a little bit of the capital in those funds over to the money market. And to see how the money is that we have invested, we have a 20% allocation, and it's showing a green light and a green light, so there's nothing that needs to be done with this. When we start to see more and more of the green lights appear, we'll put the additional 10% back to work in this category. Next, let's go down to our international funds. We have a 30% target allocation, but we have a 0% current allocation, and that's again because we've seen so much of the red appearing. And this week we're 100% on the red side, as well as showing a lot of red in all three columns to the left of column V. So as long as we're seeing that situation, we'll be staying out of this. Once we see more and more of the green appear on the left, and we see the stronger cells starting to turn green, we'll allocate capital back into this category. And finally, let's take a look at our sector funds. We have a 15% allocation. Currently have a 15% allocation, and to see if there's any adjustments that are needed, you go down to the 10% allocation, which is showing a green light and a green light, so nothing needs to be done. In our 5% allocation, we're also seeing the green light and a green light, so nothing needs to be done. That's all that you need to do on a week over week basis to see what adjustments should be made to your 401k. Let's go back to our home page. We simply do that by clicking the custom views, and let's go to with the performance column, and that takes us right back to the home page. I hope that it's been helpful. That's what I've got for this week, and the goal is to give you some resources and ideas to help make managing your 401k choices both a simple and easy process. If you'd like to find out more about how the Greenlight Investor can help you make sense of your 401k, you can go to our website, greenlightinvestor.org, and you can get a copy of this worksheet to download to your computer and go through it on a week over week basis. Or if you want to send me an email, I'll email this out to you each week too. That way you can take a look at it and see if there's any adjustments. Again, I hope this has been helpful, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your weekend to go over your 401k selections. Thank you.